Get confused between the Lexus GS F Sport and the new GS F. While the F Sport is just a trim package on the GS 350 and 450h, the GS F is a full-blown performance overhaul. We're taking a look at the car for the first time now. This face here is arguably what should have gone on the GS F Sport all along. Lexus's spindle grille here wrapped with large insert here. It kind of goes over the entire thing, fuses the upper and lower portions of the grille. Lots of ventilation here around the side. There's kind of ductwork down here, openings along both sides. All of these openings, as far as we can tell, are legit. None of them are just kind of there for show. Aggressive extensions along the side of the car, 19-inch front and rear wheels. Now the GS F Sport can also have 19s, but the rear tires on the F Sport don't get this wide. These are 275mm wide tires in back. A lot of traction that this car needs to put down. We'll get to what's under the hood and why it needs to put down that traction in a second, but check out these tailpipes. Quad tailpipes stacked one on top of the other, a lot like on the RCF. Under the hood here, a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 similar to the RCF. Now, it's not supercharged or turbocharged like the engines in competitors like the BMW M5, Mercedes E63, Cadillac CTS VR. So really, we're looking at fairly modest horsepower numbers overall. Hard to say that 467 horsepower is modest, but in this league, it sort of is. Only 389 pounds-feet of torque. That's at a relatively high 4,000 or 5,000 RPM or so. Once you put it all together, maybe not as quick of a car as those cars, but not a slow car in its own right. The GSF, only about 100 pounds heavier than the RCF, give or take, according to Lexus. That means it should hit 0 to 60 somewhere in the 4.5-second range. Under the hood isn't the only thing that's changed. There's unique structural and suspension reinforcements and a torque vectoring rear differential. That means it takes power, puts it out to the left or right rear wheels accordingly to improve handling. Now inside, sports seats similar to the RCF. They've got kind of like faux belt loops behind on each side of the head restraint. Very comfortable seats in the RCF. I gotta say, they seem like they would be just as comfortable in this car. Some other cool accents too, some blue stitching around areas like the gear shift handle right here as well. So clearly by the specs alone, a smaller performance envelope than the BMW M5, the Mercedes E63, the Cadillac CTS V, but this car could also end up being a lot cheaper. Now, two of those three already have pricing starts in the $90,000 range. Judging by the RC350 F Sport versus the RCF, there's about a $15,000 or so difference for that upgrade. That translates into a GSF starting somewhere in the $70,000 range when it goes on sale later this year. If that turns out to be true, this could still be a